Hi, I'm not a chef, Evan Fusco, and Frank Proto really recently did a video on how to make the best grilled cheese, and I have a lot of respect for him and his recipes and videos that he does online, but I had some disagreement with his recent techniques for making a grilled cheese sandwich, and I wanted to share my preferred technique, which is similar to his in some ways, but also has some key differences. And so here's what we'll do. So first of all, he recommended against sourdough bread, which I really disagree with. I love sourdough bread for grilled cheese. I think it adds a flavor component. The holes, well, you know, as far as the crumb, are certainly bigger. They're not unwieldy. You know, sometimes you'll see a more open crumb sourdough bread, and it will have some big holes that'll leak through, but really a properly made sourdough like mine, which just came out of the oven this morning, really the holes are not that big. The cheese will fall down in those, but to me that helps let them stick to the bread better and really creates kind of a nice quality, good texture bread. One of his other arguments, and that I do think is valid, is that the crust can kind of cut the roof of the mouth. And while it's not terrible, I agree that you do feel that, but I've gotten used to it. And frankly, I think the benefits outweigh the downsides when using bread. I agree with him also on using mayonnaise instead of butter, though. If you see my pan over here, I do use a little bit of butter just kind of as a base, and I can, if nothing else, I use it sort of as a scale to let me know when my pan is ready. I just had it on very low heat to start with. I'm going to crank that up just a bit because when the bread hits, I want it to start browning pretty much right away. He chose to use American cheese as one of his two cheeses on there. Not a fan of that idea. I just don't think American cheese is really cheese, and just philosophically I kind of disagree, but I understand that that's a flavor choice, and I've had my share of Velveeta grilled cheese in the past, and I won't pick nits on that particular option. Today I'm going to use some mild cheddar and some mozzarella. Some days I just use sharp cheddar alone. Kind of depends what I have available in the fridge. Sometimes I'll even throw a little bit of blue cheese on there just for that little interesting sharpness that it adds. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of bacon on mine. I don't do that every day, but again, it's just kind of one more textural and flavor element that I think kind of just jumps up the quality and the flavors in a high quality grilled cheese sandwich. And I don't know if you can see, but my skillet's starting to get hot here. The butter's starting to bubble. Give that just a couple more seconds, and then I'll throw the bread on there and show you the next difference between Chef Proto's style and mine. So he put one piece of bread down, put his cheese on there, and then put the other slice of bread on top. And then partway through, he went ahead and flipped his bread. I think that's kind of both a waste of time and increases the risk that you're going to have your unmelted cheese fall out into your pan and just kind of be a waste. So I put both pieces of bread down at the same time. I go ahead and just add my cheese here, and some of it'll fall off into the pan, and you'll see later I just usually scoop up those crunchy bits and either throw them back onto the sandwich itself, or I'll just eat them straight because I love the crunchy burnt cheese. And you know, even if there are holes in your crumb in your sourdough bread that fall through, you know, which was one of his concerns, who cares? It just gets crunchy just like you like it. And he even talked about his cheese spilling over the edge of his bread and how he liked that. So I don't really know if it matters whether it spills over the edge or spills through a hole. So a little combination there of some mozzarella and some cheddar today. One thing I did learn from his video that I've never done, and I think I will try today, that I think is a smart choice, is just a little bit of kosher salt added. And a little bit of fresh ground pepper, which I think is going to be brilliant, just to scale up that flavor a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my bacon on here right now. And the last little tidbit that I do that honestly I don't know if it makes a huge difference or not, but it makes me feel like it does, is a lot of times I'll just take and I'll put a little lid over that to kind of hold that heat in and hopefully help melt that cheese from the top down. And again, the reason I like to do this open faced rather than closed faced is there's no guessing about when the cheese is melted and the sandwich is done. You still kind of want to keep an eye on that crust so to make sure you're not burning that. But this really is a great way to allow you to see exactly when that cheese is melty and perfect to go. And you reduce that risk of losing a bunch of cheese off the side. Just give this a few more minutes. Clean up my mess. Check my flame, make sure it hasn't jumped up. This stove is sometimes a pain about that. The flame will be set at a certain level and it'll suddenly jump up, and I don't want to burn my bread. Should we take a peek? No, I'm going to wait a couple more minutes. Be patient. Video is going to be longer than I really wanted it to be. I wish I was fancy and could like compress the boring times like this when we're just looking at the lid. Maybe I'll figure that out. All right, let's take a look. All right, so you got some crusty stuff starting around the edges there. Probably just leave those alone for the time being. Cheese is still not quite melted. Get this a little bit closer here. Might be a little bit OCD of me, but I'm always careful that when I put the bread down, I make it so that the two cut faces are up, and so when they come together, it fits nicely. You don't have to do that, or if you're using, white bread that's all the same thickness, obviously that's not going to make any difference. But like these are the first two slices off of my sourdough loaf, so there's a little bit of a taper to them, so this piece is a little bit smaller than that piece. And if I had them flipped where the widest side was against the narrowest side, it would be a little uneven. This way they'll come together pretty nicely. All right, let's put the lid back on for just a few minutes here. Crooked. 10-minute video on making a grilled cheese sandwich. If you're watching still, you probably need help. But hopefully everybody likes it. Only thing left really is showing you the finished product as I fold the two sides together. can't remember if he cut his in half or not. I don't usually, because I don't like that cheese going everywhere. But maybe today we'll just do a glamour shot for you. Trying to think, you know, when I was younger working in a restaurant, one of the other techniques that the particular restaurant used on their grilled cheese is they added fresh sliced tomato on theirs. And, you know, it sounds a little weird, but it was delicious. I really loved doing that, having that texture. I just don't often have fresh tomato around, or I don't want to just take 2 little slices off of one to do that on grilled cheese. But it's a really nice addition, and it's kind of a substitute for the ketchup that a lot of people use, or tomato soup that you dip in. So tomato naturally goes with cheese very well. Oh, look at that. So we've just got a little bit here that's not quite done and melty, but we are very, very close. Just give it a couple more minutes to let that completely finish. It's even pretty with the mozzarella, don't you think? Like I said, I'm probably 90% of the time just use straight cheddar cheese. But I do acknowledge that a blend is often really, really nice. Hope I'm not cooking my phone by having it this close. You can take a peek on the underside to make sure we're not burning that if you want here. A little brown, but not bad. Go ahead and close it up. Boom. Put that right on top. Squish it together a little bit. Look at that. No cheese falls out. There's no need to worry about flipping it or holding it and flipping it. It's just, you just flip one side on top of the other. Nothing falls. It's all together. All right, I think that's going to be melty enough from the residual heat. Clean that up in just a second. All right, look at that. Look at that golden color in it. It should be both sides looking pretty freaking nice. Do the hero shot here. That looks delicious to me. Got my proteins, my cheese, crusty. Give that technique a try, folks.